Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about for loops. This is going to be the first video of a two-part series. And before we get into for loops, let's talk about what iteration is. It's a synonym to looping, and it's basically the process of going through each element of a list or running a code a certain amount of times, as said in that comment over there. So what do I mean? I mean we have a num list right here, right? How do we go through each element of the list, like the first element, 1, 2, 4, 3, and do something with it, like maybe check to see if it's even per se. Now there are two types of for loops, and remember, for loops are the way we iterate. While loops aren't really considered iterations because they're just running until a condition is met. But for loops, they run a certain amount of times depending on how we create the for loop. So as I was saying, there are two types of for loops. The first one is the for element in list loop. So let's check that out. Right now, I want to print out the number of even numbers in our list. So how can we do that? First, let's make an even counter, right? We'll set it equal to 0. Now, to iterate through this list, we're going to say for element in num list, right? And what this is doing is we're basically going to run the code, but each time element is going to be a different number. The first time we run whatever's in here, right? Whatever's in this pass statement, right? We're going to put some code there. Element's going to equal 1. Then it's going to equal 2, then 4, then 3, then 5, then 4, then 7, and so on until we've iterated over the entire list, right? And this is very helpful because now we can find the number of even numbers in our list. So let's check this. If element, because remember, element is equal to the current iteration of our list, so it could equal 1, 2, or 4, depending on which iteration we're on. If element equals, or sorry, modulo 2 equals 0, meaning that if the remainder of it being divided by 2 is 0, then we can conclude that it's even, and we can increase the even counter by 1. If it's not, then just pass. We don't even need this else statement. And then at the very end, let's print even c. Let's see what runs. 10. Seems about right. I haven't actually counted, but take my word for it, it's probably right. Now, the second type of for loop is a bit more complicated, but it's much more powerful. So you have to write more, but you can also do a lot more with it. And it's called the for x in range loop. Now, you can just say for, and let me show you, for c in range 1 to 10, print c. Now what would this print? All the numbers from 1 to 9. And the reason it's 1 through 9 is because the range starts at 1 and ends at whatever this number is minus 1. And I'm going to show you why that's helpful in a bit. But in our case, what we want to do is we want to go through each of these elements, but we want the index of the element. For example, 1's index is 0. 3's index right here, what is it? It's 3. So let's see how we can do that. And to demonstrate why the for x in range loop is so powerful, I'm going to be taking this specific scenario called triplets. Now what exactly are triplets? Right here is 1, 2, 2, 2. Right here is another 5, 5, 5. Basically a number that to the left of it and to the right of it is equal to itself. 5, this 5 is equal to this 5 and this 5, so therefore this is a triplet. 2, 2, 2. You get it. So now let's go over how we can use a for x in range loop. So we're going to say for index, because we're going to loop over the index. Most people like using I, but I'm going to use index to make it a bit more clear. For index in range len num list. Okay. So what this is doing is we're basically going to take the length of the num list. What is it? It's 26. I'll just tell you right away. But since, remember, we're taking the range of 0 to 26, 0 to 25, because remember 26 minus 1 is 25, it automatically allows us to loop through the indices, and that's the plural of index. So basically the 25th index is this last one right here. And we don't have to say len num list minus 1 because it automatically does that for us, and it's very helpful. So let's get on with the code. First thing we want to do is we know for sure that this number right here and this number right here can never be a triplet. So let's make a condition checking that. If index equals 0, meaning that if it's the first element, or index equals length num list, so we're taking the length, which is 26, and remember we want the index, so we have to do minus 1, because the range does that for us, but here this doesn't automatically give us the last index. Now you might be asking, why can't I do index equals -1? Isn't that also the last element? Well, our for loop is looping from 0 to 25. It's never going to equal -1. It's never going to say 25 is equal to -1. So therefore we have to do something as tedious as this. Okay, and if this happens, we're basically we're just gonna say, okay, if that's the case, we know that it can't be a triplet, so we'll just pass. If it's not, then there's a chance that it could be a triplet. So how do we check for this? Well, let's go over that. And we're gonna write an if statement for that. So let's get started. Num list index. So whatever number is at the index that we have right now in num list, if that's equal to num list index minus 1, meaning we're going to go one index back and check if it's equal to the current number at this certain index, right? Let's just say index of 1, right? We're at an index of 1, and we want to see if the number below it is equal to itself. It's not, so this is not going to run, but we also have to check to see if the index above it, if the number there is also equal to our current number at this specific index, which is 1 in our scenario. Index is equal to num list index plus 1, right? Now this might be a bit confusing, but splitting it apart step by step hopefully is helping you. If you have any questions, please ask us on our Discord or comment down below. And if this is the case, then we can say that it's a triplet. We're going to increase the triplet counter by 1 and then finally print the triplets. And if this code works, I think that we should have three triplets. So 2, 2, 2, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 1, 1, 1. Let's see, 3. So you want to usually use the for x in list loop if you were not going to change the elements. You want to access the elements, but you're not going to really change the order or anything of it, right? But for x in range allows you to change the order of it, check some index that's greater than it, some index that's less than it. It gives you much more power, but it's also much more time consuming, as you can see here. So like I said before, if you have any questions, please ask us on the Discord, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next more advanced for loops tutorial.